Yo guys, what's up? It's Michael here. So today let's talk about the state of go-to-market engineering in 2026, how to avoid confusion, what's the state of Clay.com changing pricing, Claude Code, is Claude Code substituting Clay, how to combine them together, how it works, so what doesn't work and what you should focus on as a go-to-market engineer to actually maximize your profit without losing your mind and without getting crazy about the new trends. Okay, so how to avoid the smoke and how to actually execute on the meat on what deliver results. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, get comfortable. It will be like a very long conversation, but I really had to make this video because LinkedIn is getting crazy. I'm getting crazy number of DMs, and I really want to make this video to actually show you what is the state of go-to-market engineering in 2026, why you shouldn't worry about the future, and how to take out the most of the news. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Go-to-market engineering, what's happening? So go-to-market engineering more or less born in 2023, 2024, when Clay actually coined the term go-to-market engineer. After that, it became hyper popular. I was one of the very first go-to-market engineers. I consulted the fastest growing companies in the world on go-to-market engineering processes, companies like Vidyard, Teramind, Procore, Isendu, Sendcloud, etc., from 8 figures to $1 billion companies plus. Okay, and I basically trained hundreds of go-to-market engineers through my one-on-one coaching. Then 2025, 2026, Claude Code became a thing inside of the niche of the GTM niche. Okay, and yes, it has some crazy applications. For example, I created a Google Ad Scraper using Claude Code. I created a Facebook Ad Scraper using Claude Code. I have an amazing internal process for invoices. I have an amazing internal process to repurpose content. I think that is probably the most effective thing I ever built with Claude Code because it really skyrocketed my power to actually repurpose content in different formats in different social medias, and it's absolutely amazing. Maybe I have to make another video about this because it's amazing and how actually go-to-market engineering is evolving. Not just go-to-market engineering basically was just outbound for a lot of time. Now is a lot of things. It's ads, it's revenue operation, it's inbound data enrichment, CRM data cleaning. It's broader, even if people still think it's just outbound. And now with the advent of Claude Code is getting way more SEO, content, etc. But anyway, let's talk about this later. 2026, Clay is changing pricing basically and positioning actually, because it was born as an outbound tool. Now it fully evolved into a go-to-market infrastructure. That's a good way to call it. Okay, so can I just use Claude Code instead of Clay? No, it's stupid. Yeah, you can, but it's stupid. Okay, there are some exceptions and we will talk about this later. So before attacking me, listen. Okay, why is it's stupid? First of all, the main problem of Claude Code is that you have no visibility. The thing that is amazing about Clay is that you have the UI. With the UI, you can actually see that data is flowing in the right way, and you have to apply another enrichment. Everything is pre-built, everything is one click away. You can check everything. It's fast. Okay, you don't have that inside of a terminal. So this is a usability bottleneck. It is not just that, but is most of the reasons why. You will spend your day debugging. Okay, if you already have a platform that works, why you have to create a new one? Okay, and I literally saw people in some groups saying that they spend 20 hours in building a Calendly substitute using Claude code. Uh, Calendly is like $10 per month, guys. So you spend 10 hours in building something that for sure it will break soon to save $10 per month, and you even think you're smart? Unless your time is worth like $2 per hour or $5 per hour, it's stupid, right? You will waste hundreds of hours for nothing. Most of the time is like that. This is what is like maintaining custom code. You will go back to Clay thinking I was right. After some time, after following all the people on LinkedIn, etc., you will have hosting problems and costs, and you don't have the economy of scale of a big SaaS. There are security problems. I know that most of you don't have experience with bigger companies, but in bigger companies, everything must be compliant, okay? In many cases, it's very difficult to get compliance for something that is custom. Clay is amazing because in just one tool, you have many different APIs, subscriptions, infrastructures that are plug and play in go-to-market infrastructures of big companies, such as the integration with Salesforce. And you don't need like to get security approval every time for every single thing. This is the why it's so amazing still today. Okay, etc. Are there some exceptions? Yes, there are. Okay. For example, there are some high-volume productized lead gen agencies, especially cold email agencies, that just doing everything inside of Clay, they actually experience API to rate limits and list dimension problems. Okay, there are probably 10 agencies in the world that actually really have those problems, and it's not you watching my video. Okay, for example, I suggest to check some videos of Eric, and I think it was even Taylor, where they basically have or a custom platform to do the data operation part, or the first part of the data operation part before the enrichment and sending everything to smart lead. But if you're not experiencing that and you're not a super high volume senders, meaning 5 million emails per month, okay, this does not affect you. It makes no sense, okay? If you're having these problems, okay, most of you are actually GTM consultants running GTM consultancies. You are go-to-market engineers, where go-to-market engineering is not outbound at scale. And by the way, outbound at scale only makes sense for 1% of companies, maybe less. Because how many companies you actually have where you have a TAM that is like 100,000 accounts? At that point, it makes sense that kind of service. Most of you don't have this. They are probably consulting other companies. Maybe you want to move up market because here it is where the money are and where you should position as a GTM agency, go-to-market engineering agency, or whatever. Okay? For example, in my case, I work with few companies that are very big, 8-9 figures, where I ask a lot of money, but the ROI is obvious in many different processes. Okay? Clay is not an outbound tool. Clay is a GTM orchestration tool. Again, outbound, inbound, data cleaning, data orchestration, intent signals, ABM, ads, account-based marketing, revenue operations, etc. Okay? How to combine Clay.com and Claude? Yeah, Claude is amazing. Again, I use Claude in many of my internal operations. Way more than these, actually. Okay? And it's really amazing. I think it's actually a revolution. And I was wrong at the beginning. I undervalued it for very long. Now I see it. Especially if you're a service provider, you can build fast things that you can reuse and you're really custom for your delivery, for your service, I put Claude inside of my go-to-market engineering training because I think it's something that you have to go deeper on. You have to be good at it, but it's not a substitute of Clay, okay? And we will see when to use one and when to use the other. But in general, how I'm using Claude, usually there are two cases, okay? I make the list on Clay, for example, marketing agencies, so clay.com, new table, find companies, agencies, marketing agency, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe I need a very specific scraper or agent that is not really on Clay. For example, maybe I need a very specific Google Ads scraper. Amazing, I can create the Google Ads scraper. Actually, I did it. I have a suite of different scrapers and projects that I can use in a millisecond to actually deploy what I built on Claude Code inside of Clay. How can you do that? It's easy. Basically, it's through the HTTP API integration inside of Clay. What you can do is you build it maybe locally in Claude Code. Then you save it on GitHub, okay? And you deploy it on Railway. Again, I will make other videos about it. When it's deployed on Railway, you can actually put it live, and from there you can access it through an HTTP API request, okay? From Clay, HTTP API, you will actually call the application that it's live on Railway, built in Claude Code, saved in GitHub, okay? For example, I had a prospect that want to perform a very creative outbound play where basically is selling software that helps sales managers and account executives in managing ABM campaigns, okay? So the play was applying to as many open jobs, applications as possible of account executives so we can get the attention of sales managers. Instead of the application, we actually pitch the product and we create brand awareness at scale, applying to all these jobs, okay? Cool. And I built that on Claude Code, saved on GitHub, deployed on Railway, connected to Clay, it works, okay? Then we have the opposite example. What's the opposite example? We start from a specific scraper or agent we built on Claude Code, and we send the data to Clay, okay? How it works? For example, let's say that I want to get all the engagers of my LinkedIn posts. I can build that on Clay. Sorry, I can build that on Claude Code, maybe using a LinkedIn API. From there, I send through the HTTP API everything to a Clay webhook table. Okay? This is how you usually combine the two in an intelligent way. It's not substituting everything. It makes no sense, okay? Great. And how not to be stupid? How not to be dumb? Why should you use Claude Code? I know it seems obvious, but for many people it's not that obvious, right? How not to be stupid? I want to learn Claude Code because it's trendy. I want to deploy it in my flow because it's trendy. This is stupid, okay? It makes no sense. It goes without saying, but let's say it anyway. Because it saves me $300 per month. This is stupid, unless your time per hour, your words per hour is not like $5 per hour, then it's stupid, okay? Because I want to learn something new. Again, this is semi-stupid. Yes, you definitely have to learn new trends, pay attention on what's happening, but don't jump on every new shiny things every time. Think about your business problems. What are the problems of your customers? How can I solve them better? How can I get faster? If the answer is not Claude Code, don't use it. Why? Why? Because it adds value to my clients. Great, this is intelligent. Okay, you're doing something that's not possible on Clay or is more efficient on Claude. Amazing. Because I deliver faster. Amazing. For example, my internal operations are on Claude Code. For example, to actually create uh, new content, I have different agent that turn the content that I wrote inside of LinkedIn post, X-post, etc. They are semi-automated because fully automated it's basically bullshit most of the time. So you have to adjust them a little bit, and now I move way faster. And in general, guys, remember this: clients don't know what Claude or whatever is. Okay, I really want to show you this post about Chris on Twitter that I reposted sort of on LinkedIn. Most companies don't know what Clay is. Most companies don't know what Claude is. Most companies don't know what outreach is. Okay? Nobody is interested how you solve the problems, how elegant you are with technology. They just have problem. They just want solution. And this guy, Chris, basically visited like a doctor's conference in a Mexican resort. Okay? Very high value, very prestigious doctors making a lot of money, millions of dollars. And he basically asked how many actually are aware about what vibe coding is. Nobody. Literally nobody. Crickets. Okay? If you go outside of your bubble of content, which is AI in GTM, go-to-market engineering, nobody knows what Clay is. Nobody knows what Claude Code is. If you network with high-level executives in finance, they don't know what Clay is, okay? They have problems, but they're not interested about Claude Code or Clay. It's just solving problems for clients. So focus your energy in getting better clients, solving problems for them, and activating referrals. This is how you make money. This is how you stay on the market. Okay? Cool. To recap, Claude Code, yes, it's amazing. It's a substitute to Clay. No. Clay is amazing. Will change it a lot with new pricing? No. It won't change nothing. Basically, you can stay legacy or you can jump on a new plan. If you're consulting bigger companies like me, they have an enterprise plan. I absolutely am not interested at all. It doesn't affect me at all. Okay? This is how it works. Guys, thanks so much. If you want to become a go-to-market engineer or land your first client, check the link in the description and see you in the next video.